Okay, this is game 2 of my match against Jerry. The first game was a brutal mountebank game where I just cursed them and cursed them and cursed them some more. They tried to play an interesting, fun deck, and I just tried to go crazy with curses. So they opened with a church. That makes sense to me. You can trash coppers with counterfeit. You can do a little, maybe do some stuff with rats, is what I'm thinking about. You can also probably want to build towards a governor stack here, it looks like. So I'm considering if there's any consideration for Devil's Workshop here. Secret Passage, or just open Church Silver. Rats, you can trash the rats into gold and draw a card, for example. You can, if they play a governor, you can turn the rats into something or other, into a governor, I guess. There are some 2 types for Courtier. You might want to play with Courtier. You might want to play with Jester as your terminal. With Church, we should be getting pretty dense and setting aside bad stuff, so the deck should be pretty nice. So essentially I'm thinking Devil's Workshop as my open. Devil's Workshop, Church. And if I draw them both together, then I can just use the Devil's Workshop, gain a gold ability that turn. I also want to get silos fairly quickly. Prioritize trashing estates as I can churn through the coppers with silos. Reap, not particularly useful here. So they just set aside 3, which makes sense. I'm going to get a silver. Everything missed here for me. Well, not everything. The church did miss. But I would have much rather seen the church on turn 3. They could potentially play the church on turn 5. I'm not going to be able to play the church again until turn 7. So I'll probably consider picking up another church here to accelerate by trashing. I guess you can also church rats. Is that any good? You have to be thinner for that to make any sense. Yeah, so they're able to get the counterfeit already. I'm going to set aside everything here. Yeah, so we had a mirror opening. They had a significantly better first shuffle. And we will see how it goes after that. I'll be able to buy my own counterfeit here and gain another church probably with this Devil's Workshop. Or gain a rats and follow their suit. It makes some sense to me. As I talked about earlier, I'm not crazy about it. Am I? I think I want a second church first, and then I have enough trashing I don't need the rats. I guess I'm going to get the rats just because it counters it very, very soft counters the governor. Counters is like, oh, it makes it impossible for them to play governor, which is not true. Soft counters is like, it's slightly nice to have a rats in my deck if they have a governor. If I draw it, which is not always likely, then there's a chance that I can use the trash ability to turn it into a governor. And then I played a Devil's Workshop once and gave up 1 card to get a governor, which certainly you would do. So they only get to 3 this turn, which is a little bit sad for them. I will get my governor now. Next time I have 4, I'm going to look to... Next time I have 4, I'm going to look to silos. So I can play this rats here. That doesn't feel great. What happens if I play the rats? I draw a copper and a state. We'll see what they do with their decision first. This is the first time they played their rats. They've gained the rats. I assume they have a choice between coppers and estates, or not. They shouldn't have 5 cards in their deck which are not copper and estate, right? Church, Devil's Workshop, Governor. And I can't imagine they played their rats in that situation. So I assume they're trashing a copper, always. And then sort of thinking about what to set aside with the church. Okay. Buy a copper to get an imp. I am not sure about that at all. I am going to set aside 3 here, I think. If I draw, yeah, I'm going to set aside 3 and get a gold. Here I'll be able to trash a copper, then play the rats. and then see where I go from there. I have a Governor and a Devil's Workshop down at the bottom of the deck, so I want to draw into that a little bit with the rats and see what I can find. Actually, we'll see what they end up doing with their... So they've trashed a silver into a Governor. I can just trash a copper into nothing, I think, in my deck. And I got a third Governor. Okay. So, trash a copper. Trash an estate. Okay, so I've got 7 here. 8 if I trash a copper. 10 if I trash a gold. I think I need to trash the gold. I want to get 2 Governors here. It seems worth more than... The second Governor seems worth more than me than a gold. I don't want to lose the Governor split too badly. Hopefully they draw me with their Governor, and I can see my Governor, which is the very bottom card of my deck. Oh, that worked out right. Thank you, Jerry. You have to be very, very, very careful with the rat stuff. You have to play that very deliberately. You have to pass up playing rats sometimes to avoid having a full-grown rat infestation as pictured on this card. Once your deck gets to too high rat percentage, bad stuff can happen to you. Like not be able to play cards or have a handful of rats, and then you have to trash whatever you draw if you play the last rats. Do I still want the imps? I think I just still want to try to get some imps into this deck. Well, what would they play? If you play an imp, my terminals are going to be Governor, Courtier, Jester, maybe. So maybe I will just turn this into a Governor. I could see having 2 imps, but I seem to be behind at this point, so I want to try to catch up, which is why I trashed the gold and why I'm making that play. I'm sacrificing a little bit of deck quality for some amount of consistency. We'll see how that works for me. Okay, I'd like to find the church here. Play 1 rats. Okay, I'm going to church a rats. I'm going to counterfeit this and get the last 2 Governors. I'm pretty happy with that play. I've trashed 2 treasures, a gold and a silver, that are nice cards to have, but I'm still not thin. I can gain more golds with Governors. I can gain more silvers from their Governors. And our decks are about the same size. They've got 16 cards. I've got 16 cards, I think. Count the 2 on my map. I think, unless I'm miscalculating, that I have 4 Governors to their 6 Governors to their 4, which is a pretty important distinction because you can get 1 province per Governor on really good turns, and with 1 province per Governor on those turns, you can, on a turn, you can, with 6 Governors, you can potentially get 6 provinces, but in practice, you actually have to draw all those Governors. So you have to spend some amount of Governors on draw and some amount of Governors on, trash gold to gain province. So that being the case, they are somewhat more limited than I am in terms of being able to do that and gain provinces. They have the imp stuff, which is nice, although they're going to need to add another terminal, I think, if they want to make use of that imp. I am probably going to add, a Jester. A Jester and a Courtier. Well, what does the Courtier do? What does the Courtier do against a Jew? If I had an imp, I could hit the imp would hit the Courtier to see the Jester, then I could play Imp Jester. But the Courtier would only get to do 1 of its abilities because I have to use the second one on plus action. So I'm not quite seeing the value of the imp stuff, other than you get one play in at some point, or you play it again to hit the rats. But if you don't have an imp in your starting hand, then none of that works very well. And it also is not completely crazy to me. Well, yeah, it is completely crazy to have a swashbuckler, unless you line your draw up very, very carefully. It ends your turn when you play it, so that's not going to work very well. And the remodeling into provinces is going to be tough. I think one thing you want to try to do is get a church turn where you set aside 3 golds, maybe late in the game. That even leads me to believe I maybe want a second church still. And I kind of want the Devil's Workshop back, even explaining the reasons why the imp is bad. Well, I'm not sure. If you want to play with the imp stuff, you can also safely add a Harbinger and a Secret Passage. There's sort of a question that I have, is the game going to go long enough for that stuff to be worth it? I would have to get another imp here this turn, another Devil's Workshop this turn, and an imp next turn. So I wouldn't be able to play the imps for 3 turns after this. Whereas they can gain an imp this turn and pick up a Harbinger and a Secret Passage with their buys, which makes the imp stuff work better. So they played all of their governors, gaining me a bunch of silvers. They did a trash, which I couldn't use. Oh, I did use for the copper. They drew me a card. They gained me 2 silvers. Gained themselves 3 golds. So it seems like they're having a big turn, which they are with governor. But I'm also able to do some stuff as well myself. Yeah, so definitely trashing the rats. And the question is, what? Oh, I'm not remodeling, so I don't get anything there. Okay. I'm going to trash and gain a rats into a gold. I probably should have done the trash and gain as soon as I saw the rats. It's a bit of a mistake on my part. It gives them 7 cards to look through. In general, with governor, you want to trash first and then draw, because now now Jerry has 7 cards they can look through to find a good card to trash, which I assume will just be a copper. They're down to 1 rats, so I'm going to go ahead and trash and gain the rats into another gold. I probably also want another counterfeit here. We'll see. Oh, they got a duchy. Okay. Plus 3 cards. Here okay, so this was a mistake. I should have trashed and gained into a counterfeit sooner. Let me count my money. 4, 8, 14, 15. So I'm trying to figure out what I counterfeit and what I buy here. If I buy, if I counterfeit silver into, if I remodel silver into gold, then if I remodel silver into gold, then I have 6, 12, 13 money. So the only way to get to double province is counterfeit a gold. I don't think they can get 5 provinces, so I think that's fine. So I think I'm going to turn this into a counterfeit. And I could get double province here. I could counterfeit the silver and do like province reap. That seems pretty bad. I maybe need to get another counterfeit earlier. I'm still not thin. I still have all these coppers. They don't have any coppers. They got the counterfeit the turn earlier than I did. So if I counterfeit the gold, that's 7, 10, 16. I get double province. They can get 4 provinces. I don't think they can get 5. And I can't really play around them getting 4 provinces anyways. We'll see what they can do. I could turn the church into something. Not sure what that something would be. I don't think there's any 4 costs that I want. If I could transfer it in hand, if I could turn the secret passage in the church in my hand into a secret passage, I would definitely do that for draw reasons. But that doesn't seem possible. So there are 2 golds in the trash. I've got 1, which means they potentially have 4 golds and 2 counterfeits. So each governor could turn a gold into a province, and they have 2 counterfeits, 2 golds. So it certainly seems possible that they could remodel 3 times into province and buy a province with their remaining cards. They could possibly remodel twice and buy a province buy 2 provinces with counterfeiting golds. If they end the turn without any golds and haven't ended the game, I can potentially play on and hope that without any golds, it's going to be really tough for them to make provinces. In order for me to win next turn, yeah, this is quite complicated, and you kind of know your deck consistency, and you have multiple governor options. With a village smithy engine, you play village, you play smithy. With governor, you have to decide how you're going to use each one across the scope of the turn. And once you've used a governor, that significantly lowers the amount of your VP ceiling for the turn. Although, yeah, so counterfeit makes a gold worth 6 effective money. Governor turns a gold, which is 3 money, into 8 money. So governor's kind of applying 5 money to your gold. It's a strange way of talking about it, but logically it makes sense to me. So I can't do anything here, unfortunately. I need my coppers to try to maximize my payload. So they're going straight for the golds. They play the imp. Do they find an action? I assumed they had one in hand that they could play. I assume they have a secret passage or a rats or a church that they can play here. They have 3 options and a clean shuffle, so they should have enough unique actions. So they've drawn and remodeled twice. And they're down to 2 golds left. Church, interesting. Does this mean that they are not trying to win this turn, and gonna hope they can win next turn? One thing to watch out for is they do still have this rats. Oh no, they trashed it. Okay, never mind. They're out of rats. If they have a bunch of rats in their hand on my last turn when I governor into provinces, they could gain some duchies and screw up the math. So it's important to watch out for that. There's also the secret passage math. I assume the secret passage is on top, so they're going to be able to gain a duchy this turn. So in order for me to win, I have to get double province, triple duchy, which seems almost impossible. So I'm out of draw here, so I can gain a gold and draw. And then remodel. Yeah, so time to count. So counterfeit, gold gets me 12, 15. I get to 20 there. Which is not enough to win. Okay, if I governor remodel gold into province, I get to 18. They hit their secret passage to get to 15. And this seems pretty hopeless to me. I'm going to just gain a gold. Set aside 3 things. I basically want to buy 2 duchies here. What does it take to buy 3 duchies? 15 money. So I can kill 2 coppers. That's 6, 7, 8. 18, 15. Okay, I'll just set aside the 2 provinces. Oh, I woefully overcounted that. Oh, that was right. 16, I needed to buy 3 duchies. Okay. So that felt bad. They're very likely to win here. I don't really know what else I was supposed to do, though. Kind of I didn't have enough golds in my deck to make my strategy work. I trashed them too early. Or didn't gain enough. But I've been about a turn behind the whole game. So I'm okay with how I played this. The big difference just being how turn 3 and 4 went. Yeah, the longer they take, the better I feel, but I'm pretty sure they're just playing it out deliberately. By that I mean they're taking their time and calculating what they're doing before they play. Often I play intuitively. I just click on the cards until I run out of actions. Then I click on the treasures, and then I buy whatever I have. I have nothing I can trash, which is really sad. Okay, good game to Jerry. Yeah, I think their strategy was good. I was trying to do the same strategy. I just couldn't line it up in time after that first shuffle. And maybe they played it better than I did after that. It was a close thing. I'll see you in game 3.